So sex is sweet. Nigerian men are not good when it comes to making love to women. A lot of women are not enjoying sex. They are not getting the benefit out of it. I do not believe that marriage is meant for Nigerians. I feel like we are too dysfunctional. What couples are doing these days, right? A lot of threesome, a lot of, orgies, it's so common in what you can even call, in quotes, healthy marriages. Healthy marriages still bring in third party, just to have fun.
In Nigeria?
Very common. I see crazy things that people do. I have seen people removing pregnancy because the tummy is too flat to be able to carry. The skin has been stretched.
Circle back. Come back a bit.
I'm saying things that I actually said I do not want to say.
Dr. Tolu, how are you doing today?
Awesome. Amazing.
People, your surname, Dr. Tolulope Oko-Igaire.
Yeah.
Are you sure you're pronouncing the name?
It's Oko-Igaire.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, lovely name. What does it mean?
I've been bearing the name for... What does it mean? I don't know.
I can.
Oko-Igaire, I don't know really.
Yeah. You are the executive director of the
Institute of Counseling in Nigeria.
In Nigeria,
now Chartered Institute of Counseling in Nigeria. Yeah.
Lovely.
Yeah.
Big deal.
Big, massive actually.
That's why I hardly see you anymore these days.
Look who is talking. Look who is talking.
They say when you are big, you're big.
Yeah, begging.
Anyway, executive director, the Institute of Counseling in Nigeria.
Right.
So, well done for all
Thank you.
do.
Thank you.
And long before you became the executive director of the ICN, you had done so much in terms of sensitizing Nigerians, enlightening Nigerians, not just Nigerians, and people still remember you. You still got quite a notoriety in Port Harcourt, where people followed you for quite a long while.
True.
And I was in company of people who used to be based in Port Harcourt, and I just said, Dr. Tolu. So you only just need to say Dr. Tolu, and people think of you first before any other Tolu they know. So well done.
Thank you. Port Harcourt was it's a place I can never forget. Like my Facebook followers, majority of them are Port Harcourt people. And these days when I do something in Lagos, you just see their comment. Now you have forgotten us, Abi. You are now in Lagos. You are not coming to. So when I started what I'm doing now, mental health, like we say the campaign for mental health awareness, that's like our mantra at the Institute. When I started, I was just doing my thing. I was just doing what I love to do. I wasn't even well grounded in that particular area, but I just feel like there's a space, there are needs that should be met in that area. And I started just doing my thing. And I now realize that people really need help in that area, So, and I was on TV. I was on RSTV, just doing my thing. And then, when people now started talking, oh, we need help. I'm like, oh, really? And I was just reading. I was just doing. So, but I feel like at that point, if I was in Lagos, it would have been difficult. But Harcourt gave me like a soft landing because I wasn't that well grounded in that particular field as at that time. We're talking about like 13 years ago. I was just starting out, right? So 14 years ago, I was on TV. So, some of the things I spoke about, even though because people were eager, people were hungry, they were listening. But notwithstanding, if it's in Lagos, I would have received a lot of backlash, but people were just open. So Port Harcourt prepared me. By the time I got to Lagos, it was was just like, I've really mastered my skill to a level. So yeah, I can't forget that. They're always telling me, come and do something, come and do. So Port Harcourt is, most of my good friends that are even still supporting me, some of the things that I do today, they are
Port Harcourt
they are
people.
Port Harcourt people. And when I hear that song, if anywhere you see that song play, something just jumped out,
Yeah,
and you see me jumping and
I know
dancing. I still feel that. Yeah,
I know that feeling. I mean,
yeah.
our times in Port Harcourt almost overlapped. I was there for just 6 months, from October of 2010
Okay.
to the end of March, April, the end of the first quarter of 2011. So I'm guessing you probably got there in 20. You settled in there
I
2011.
got there. I had my son 2005.
Okay.
I got there 2006.
Ah.
I got there 2006.
So that's much longer than 14
yeah,
years.
before I started,
when you started
the TV.
When
I got there, I was doing I had a boutique. Then I started doing this importation business, Tokumbo. So I have a shop. Some people call me Madame Tokumbo in Port Harcourt.
Really?
So I travel, I pack all of these things. I travel a lot. They go to Germany. My brother is in Germany. And I go there, buy, toys, bicycles, all of this fairly used stuff. They are very good stuff. So I bring them in. And then after some time, but I have started, the mental health thing. I had a magazine. In fact, it was when I was 7, I started Wedding Jingle magazine. Wedding Jingle magazine. So inside Wedding Jingle, they're going to be, I started writing articles. There was no telephone. I think that was the year that mobile this thing came. I served 2002, 2003. So that was when I think, so it was just, so I think I put my email address, so I will write articles. And then later I started putting my phone number. In fact, my friend I had like a partner that we were doing the magazine together, Wale Akapo, is a top guy in the police now. Very, very top guy. He's my photographer. He's the one that goes to the field, that does all the, and then we sit down and we put it, we finished together from the university. We're in the same class. So as I started writing articles about marriage, relationship, this is how you should do it. And then I was just doing my thing. And then I will carry people, we will record, take people to the studio, rent wedding gowns. In fact, some of the celebrities, there was a time I used to come to Lagos to do photo shoot, and I'll carry some of these celebrities, some of them were very actually supportive, like Abiola Adebayo. I'm not sure she can still remember. Abiola Adebayo, there's this other guy, they covered my magazine for me, I was just starting out then. And then I'll write articles on marriage or relationship, and then people will start sending me emails. And then when I had a phone number, I put it there. People start sending me, please, I have this problem. Please, I have this issue. And I'm like, I don't know how to solve your problem, really. But because I've always been a church girl, yeah, I mean, I become born again at 10 in deeper life.
Whoa.
Right. At 10, I am still a church girl, but because I talk sex, people feel like, oh.
But the life is not so deep anymore.
It is deep.
Whoa.
Yeah, it is deep. But I have understanding. I feel like a lot of young people in the church really need help in the area of mastering their emotions. When it comes to emotional intelligence and when it comes to emotional relationship with the opposite sex, a lot of church girls need, even boys, they need to grow up. They need to be exposed to a lot of understanding, because you are just in relationship where in a lot of cases you are not in charge. You are just following, you are a lot of church girls, church boys are kind of docile. And I think that's the way I was. I have understanding, I have the knowledge of the word of God, but when it comes to emotions, in fact, the best thing when it comes to relationship is just run away from it. You don't do relationship, you don't. So how do you even have experience? How do you navigate that terrain when you always shy away from it, you always run away from it? So, yeah, so church girl. So because of that, I have always had understanding of, okay, use Bible to help people. But when they started sending me some things, I'm feeling like, this is not what I want. I want to like be able to have like a psychological solution to this issue beyond, spiritual solution. And then and then I remember one particular topic that I took. So it was from the wedding jingle. When I started seeing emails, I'm like, wow, people have problem. And I've been in church. I've been a church girl all my life, and I see that marriages are going through tough time in the church, especially in the area of sex. I know. So I started trying to respond to people. I started getting information, and I started studying, I started reading, I started taking certifications in this field. And when I started my radio show, I've really grown to a level. And for me, what I do is a calling, really, because I don't know, like, I don't need to be paid to, like, just, I would do it anywhere, anytime without a kobo, right? When I started in Port Harcourt, nobody cares about money. They just saw me on TV, they have a problem. And they're like, Auntie Tolu, I was Auntie Tolu, in Port Harcourt. So I remember, so I'll give you 2 incidents. One that really made me to know. So I did the topic on how to have a healthy vagina. And I talked about the fact that, do not use the soap that you are using to bathe to wash your vagina. And there was a lady that had a supermarket not too far from my house. And she had intimate wash. Nobody was buying, really. And then I entered into her shop like a week after. And she's like, hey, Auntie Tolu, see, no, my intimate wash is gone. No, that your show, because she follows my show, and she will always, whenever I say, I like what you talked about last Saturday, And then she, see, people are listening to your show. See, my intimate wash. I'm like, really? How? Like, I spoke on TV, and then it trickled down to the supermarket behind my house. So that made me to feel like, oh, wow, this is something. And then I now got a lot of messages, mostly from men. Oh, Dr. Tolu, what is the name of that chemical? I just said intimate wash. I didn't even mention anything. I didn't know. What is the name of that chemical, that substance? That they were just calling it different. I'm like, people don't know that there's something called intimate wash. Wow. So that was one incident that made me to feel like, oh, wow, I really need to keep doing this. And people are always coming to my office, sharing their problem. In those days, people come into my office and I rented a small office at some point. I had a PA, and then I'm paying for that office. I'm not making money, and that's where my husband, in fact, my husband doesn't want me to do all of this. He just wants me to like sit at home. What do you need? You want to travel on a big car, But, he was giving me all of that. I was unhappy. I don't understand it. He doesn't understand it. So sometimes I'll be like, I remember sometimes I'll tell my husband, like, babe, it was in Calabar at some point, but the family were seeing Port Harcourt. And then I will call him like 4 p.m. I'll say, babe, I feel like killing myself. And he'll be like, what are you looking for? He will start driving from Calabar. By 4 p.m., there was no flights, and the road was very bad. Sometimes I get to Port Harcourt like 10 p.m. And I'll say, I don't know what is wrong with me. I don't know what. You say, okay, will you travel? I'll travel outside the country. I'll come back. Yes, yet I'll still feel that emptiness. And that talks about purpose for me. He doesn't understand it. I do not even know what I was looking for. But the moment I started doing what I love to do, I tell you, the moment I moved to Lagos, for 10 years, I didn't step outside the country. And before, I was traveling around the world. For 10 years. I started traveling outside the country after 10 years. But I was fulfilled. I was on top of my game. I was happy. In fact, at the beginning, I didn't really understand it. So people will come to my office in Port Harcourt and be like, oh, Auntie Tolu, I never chop. I no go fit talk. I am paying rent. So this is where my husband, so at that point, my husband doesn't want me to work, but he just noticed I'm happy doing this. So he just feel like, what, as long as you are not feeling I don't want to kill myself, I'm not happy, like you are happy, just do it. So he just couldn't stop me from doing that because he feel like this is the solution to the problem, right? So at that point, when people come into my office, so it's like a resort, that place. So you have people that sell meat pie and all of the small chops and all of that. And they're like, I never chop, I no go fit talk. So you're coming to my office, I'm paying rent, I'm paying my staff. I had a staff then. And then I'll still go and buy meat pie. I'll still buy coke for you to eat before you can talk to me. And then after they like, Port Harcourt people pidgin like, yeah, I go fit talk now, may we talk. But when I speak to them, I remember there was a day my assistant then, when the couple walked out of my office, she just jumped into my office. She said, Ma, are you okay? Ma, are you okay? I'm like, yes, I'm okay. What happened? She said, hey, Ma, what is going on in this office? I'm like, what happened? She said, those couple that came in, I was worried for you. We had like a 3-seater in the waiting area where her own office is. And then the two of them on that 3-seater, they were fighting. Don't move close to me. Don't touch me. She said they were cursing themselves. That the things they were doing, she was like, God, how will this woman deal with this? And then when they were leaving, they were holding her arms, hands, and then they walk out of my office. And then she jumped his mouth. Ma, what is going on in this office? I'm like, what happened? Then she explained all of this to me, So in those days when I was doing those things for free, in fact, more like paying them, because if I'm paying for meat pie and coke, I'm paying you really. And then it got to a point I started taking 3,000 naira per session, 5,000. When I moved to Lagos, 15,000. I had to pay a lot of money, to relocate. But today I do 250,000 per hour. That's my session now. I don't even have time. So I have associate counselors and therapists that work with me. So if you cannot pay Dr. Tulu, you can pay my associate therapists. Their session is 120. And then I have a platform where you can also pay 20,000 naira. So you can go to that platform, just book there and do your 20K, or you do the so I have paid my dues, I have grown, and I have seen therapy works. Like, you cannot, when Nigerians say it's Oyinbo thing, you can't tell me that. I have seen somebody that did 12 sessions with me, and the 12th session was the end of his session. And then he came and he said, Dr. Tolu, I'm not going to leave your office without showing you my suicide note that I wrote. I said, I'm not going to mention it until my last session. The first session before coming to my office, he wrote his suicide note. And I said something, and he carried the thing, whatever that you want to drink. And he said something, said, call your friend before you do it, so that in case anything happened, they can. So he just called his friend, and then they started talking. We're like, oh, he was on antidepressants, he has been on psychiatric medications for it. So he was just frustrated. And he just feel like, you know what? He had everything going for him. Fine guy. You just look at him, you feel like, And then he called his friend, and the friend said, he now said, all of these things are not even working. I'm just tired. I think nothing is working. Even the medication is making him to feel terrible, And the friend was like, don't give up now. But he didn't mention that I'm about to die. The guy just said, oh, they should talk for you. And they were like, have you tried therapy? And then he was like, therapy. I'm on psychiatric medication. You're talking of therapy. That one say, that one, they will not give you medication. They will just talk to you. Why don't you try? He said, I beg, they do therapy for Nigeria. I don't know, I beg. That one said, just wait, let me check online. That one was the one that Googled, found me, called me right there, and paid for the first session for him. And then he came. And then the 12th session, he came with the suicide note. And someone would tell me, does therapy works? Marriages that I deal with, now marriages are a mess in Nigeria. I personally, maybe we'll talk about that. I do not believe that marriage is meant for Nigerians. I feel like we are too dysfunctional. Our perception of love and intimacy is so unhealthy, is so traumatized, that we don't even love in a healthy way. And if you don't love healthily, you can't keep a functional family. The family is already dysfunctional. The children that are coming out of those places will be dysfunctional. So I look at us and I'm like, you see, I was in a church when somebody said, oh, this kissing, head of marriage. It's not story. I was there, head of marriage committee. I said, oh, this, I've never, and he said, I've never seen my father kiss my mom. So you cannot say that I should, kissing is what you need to. Like, really? Nigerian couples don't kiss anyway. They don't kiss. I say it a lot of times that the last time most couples kissed, was when the pastor said, you may kiss the bride. After that, they moved on. You wake up in the morning, you are going out. I'm not even saying peck. I'm saying French kiss that keeps you in the mind of your partner for the rest. You know, there's a way you kiss someone, the person can't get over it for the rest of the day. That is what couples should be doing. All of those things are not our thing here. No emotional connection, no intimacy. All the men know is look for money, be hard, be tough. You know, they don't even know how to. And then the men are saying, what does women want? I don't even know you don't know what they want, because biologically, the hormones, women has hormones that want they want to be cuddled, they want to be pet. So biologically, women want all of that. Psychologically, the men were raised to make money. So there is a gap so the woman was also raised to collect money. So she want to collect money and the man is providing the money. And then she's feeling, give me money. And then at some point, the money is no longer, she's wanting, give me this. And the man is, which one do you want? And then you start seeing men saying, what do they want? They say money, you give them. They will now say, you didn't call me, you didn't send me romantic. Nigerian men, that is not their thing. The thing is, everything about you has an explanation. The way you talk, the way you walk, the way you think, the way you process information, the way you dress, the religion you are practicing, the way you fall in love, there are explanations. None of them is automatic. So I ask our men, where did you learn how to connect emotionally? Where did you learn how to be intimate? How did you even learn how to make love? Where did you learn how to do it? Oh, they say it's instinctual. How? How will your instinct? Some people, recently, I still had, it's not, I see a lot of couples. And like I was trying to tell you that, I have seen, the marriages that I see is marriages that are, you can imagine somebody that can pay like 250,000 and can be coming me weekly for 3 months, So the marriages, even before I started taking that amount, the marriages that I see are not, they are people that are well-read, well-traveled, well-exposed. So it's like everything is working for them. But that part, the marriage part, is in shambles, And I do not see how you can have a fulfilling life when the person you are waking up and sleeping with you are living like Nigerians are living like roommates. Couples are living like you do you, I do me. Just because we want to stay there, let them just say, I am married. People, I cannot, if I leave now, people will look at you, they will raise eyebrow. So for me, I have seen therapy works. In fact, I know it's ambiguous, but I like to say it works like magic, But come on, I've seen it work. I've seen people at the verge of suicide having hope. I have seen marriages that are in shambles, separated, not talking to each other, like they see each other like enemies. Like this one is saying, oh, she'll kill me if I enter that therapy with you. She'll kill me. You see stuff like that, and I've seen people like that. Finding their feet again in marriage. I have seen sexless marriages. Those ones are normal thing. Nigerian couples are not having sex. I was having, conversation with a friend who is also like a top guy, who is also into marriage and all of that, therapy coaching. And I was like, these guys are not having sex. He was like, Dr. Tolu, you don't know. Nigerian couples are not having sex. I think you should know that. A lot of couples are not having sex. Roommates. Now tell me how that kind of marriage will be functional. You are living with the opposite sex. You are not having gender identity issues or sexual orientation issues. You are living with the opposite sex. You have hormone. You are a man. You have testosterone. And then you can't have sex. and that marriage will be functional. No, it's already dysfunctional. Yeah.
Mental health, relationship, sex. It's like they are like triplets. They are all interconnected, aren't they? And those are, concerns that I really want us to unpack one after the other.
Yeah.
But let's just start with mental health. As ED of ICN, no doubt, you've seen things, you've heard things.
Right.
Could you give me an example of just any of one of the most moving examples you've seen?
So I would say so sometimes I speak to some of our students and we have this conversation and they'll be like, Dr. Tolu, the way you are talking, look like this. The case is, this is hopeless. I'm not sure if I'm hopeful when it comes to mental health in Nigeria. Yeah, we are taking steps. We are talking about it. But I don't think we get it. You see, I will use one of the major issues that I see in Nigeria is trauma. Trauma is the foundation of whether you're talking of depression, anxiety, trauma, and personality disorders rooted in trauma. I do not think there is anybody in this country that don't have at least one personality disorder, minimum. It is rooted in our culture. It is rooted in our upbringing. It is rooted in parenting, in religion. And one of the major personality disorder that I see that is a major problem is narcissistic personality disorder. I don't think there is a man in this country that doesn't have, you are smiling.
A measure of it.
I feel like there must be a trait of narcissism. Narcissism is a spectrum. So some are very high on the spectrum. Some it's mild, but it must be there. If you are raised, you are a man, you are raised in this country, you will have it. Because narcissism is...
So would it probably be abnormal if you didn't have it?
I think you'll be abnormal if you don't have it.
Okay. Yeah.
I have a friend that, every time I look at him, I'll be like, this is an exceptional Nigerian man. This is an exception, because of the way he thinks, the way emotional intelligence and all of that. It seems so balanced. And then I get close. It's my friend. We're close. And then I notice something in him. He would just drop it. He would just act it. I'm like, so this guy still have this thing.
Flashes of it.
He does.
Don't they say we're all crazy?
I think, we are mad, in quotes.
It's just the extent of the madness.
Yeah, everybody. But you see, Africans, Nigerians, narcissism is, in a psychological way, I put it as a lack of development of the emotional side of the brain.
AKA imperfection, maybe.
Maybe. Is it imperfection?
Imperfection. We're all imperfect.
I don't think it's that.
We are imperfect.
Yes, we are all imperfect.
So something has got to give. It's got to show somewhat.
I agree with that we are all imperfect. Nobody is perfect. But the problem with narcissism is you are imperfect and you are not aware. You are not aware. You see, you are not the one that made yourself like that. And when people students come into the institute and they're like, Dr. Tolu, the reason I'm here to study is because I want to deal with narcissists, a lot of women. And then when they are done with their training, they'll be like, I just feel empathy for them now. Because it is not their fault that they are like that. And if you are trying to even to heal narcissism in therapy requires a lot.
But women are also narcissistic.
Of course, but it is majorly men. Because like I said, it is rooted in upbringing. When I was talking about, lack of development of the psychological side of the brain, you are a child. Your brain is developing, is trying to ask questions, is trying to figure some things out. but you are not allowed to speak. You're like, your dad said, Femi, they don't put cup on top of that place. So your little brain is trying to figure out why is it an abomination? So you have like 10 explanations you are trying to figure out, but you cannot ask, Daddy, why? So that's your inability to ask that question. You begin to grow up like that. You develop, you don't have this tendency of, it is not right to ask people questions. When you don't ask an adult, that all of those, you see all of this Yoruba adage, all of these skits. You see all these skits that our mothers, our father, they do on social media. I don't like watching because it triggers me. As much as it makes people to laugh, it triggers me because it exposes me to our trauma. And then you become an adult. You grew up in a house where they don't ask you questions. And then somebody, your wife, you are 30 years old, and then one woman that is 27 years old is now trying to say, why are you doing it like that? Something will be ringing in your brain. Like, really? Why are you asking me? A lot of our men are sensitive to why, W-H-Y. When you ask them why, they are triggered. That is narcissism. You just want to be in control all the time. You don't want to be questioned because you didn't develop capacity to negotiate. So all of this, if you grow up like this, how will you? So that's why I said it is more a man thing. It is out of parenting. It is environment. It is culture. You are a man. Keep it all close together. Don't cry. Man up. All of those things teaches you not to develop the emotional side of you that can negotiate, that can look at things from other person's perspective. So when you get married, you are like, when you hear things like, I paid in full. It's not the excitement of paying in full. It is, I'm in charge. When I tell you, you do it. The problem with this is, the major problem is, it sits in your subconscious. Now you're going to say, this is me, take it or leave it. It's not even you. It is your dad. It is the religion. It is the environment. It's culture. It's your uncles that made you to think that way. So it's in your subconscious directing your life. So you are not even in charge of how you fall in love, how you relate to with your partner. You are not in charge. It is your dad that has been dead 20, 30 years ago that is still dictating how you should fall in love, how you should relate, whether you should be happy or not. Because you are not self-aware to a level where you can go to your hardware and reprocess them. So if you're asking me about some of these mental health issues, trauma, I feel like we were raised with a lot of trauma. We were raised where even the people that are raising us, they don't even know what they are doing. They are actually trying. And that is why when people are angry with their parents, a lot of people are in that situation. My mom did this. I read something not like 2 days ago. Somebody said my mom put pepper in my private parts. All of those things. And then what are they? Because it was a short comment. She said she was the only girl in the family of, I think, 5. So the mom just want to make sure, like, you are a girl, you have to keep yourself, they don't teach you sex education, they put fear in your mind. So you are afraid of sex, you are afraid of intimacy, everything you know about it is fear. Don't touch. If you touch a boy, you'll get pregnant. And now we're even in an era where we are moving from one extreme to the other extreme. So there's no check and balances. So I'm looking at us and I'm like, I don't know what we are doing as Africans when it comes to, we might be getting it right in other areas, but when it comes to mental health, we are far. We are not even there until parents become aware, parents themselves deal with their own trauma, reprocess and take charge of their emotions and their lives. And then they can, you see people say, I'm not like my mom. I'm not like my dad. I'm doing better because my dad doesn't allow us to talk. Me now, I allow my kids to talk. So that means you are not like, no. You actually move from, you are doing opposite of what it was. It means that it is still that trauma that was still dictating what you are doing. So you need to reprocess all of those things, go to your repressed materials, bring them out, reprocess them and say, this is the way I want to do it. And this is why I am doing it like this. Until you get to that point, it is still same trauma that you are still using to raise your children. So you are talking like your mom, you're walking like your dad, you are dressing like them, you say you are not like them. Then your subconscious directing you. So I feel like until we get it right with parenting, where every mom, every dad is self-aware, they understand why they act the way they do, why they called you in you, you know whom you are. Until you get to that point and you now choose how you want to live and how you want to parent, we'll keep moving in that cycle of trauma. Yeah.
You talk about generational trauma and its impact on, the coming generations.
Yeah.
As like they say, we are each the collective sum of all our experiences, right? So it affects how we turn out,
right?
All of that. I was just wondering, in all of this, you paint a pretty bleak picture, and it's not it's not far-fetched, because when you really look at it, everybody just carries their own baggage. There's a saying in Yoruba that all lizards tend to have their tummy to the ground, so you can hardly tell which of them has stomach trouble.
Right.
But from your experience, have you seen full reversal? Is it even easy? Is it even possible to reverse trauma-induced actions? You talked about narcissism.
Yeah.
And I talked about, mostly men.
Yeah.
But even the women.
Women, of course.
Act all damaged too.
Right. Lots of us.
You see it in different ways.
Yeah.
So, is it reversible?
100%. 100%. But the thing is, so I'm looking at, I do not think it's reversible without therapy. I do not think so. And that is why you see in the Western world, they have their problems, right? You see that therapy is a way of life. You have a child. There are stages of development in children, right? There are things, so there are stages of development. And I really like this Erickson stages of development. I love it so much because it just explains Nigeria to me. And then there are spheres of life. So you want to look at the emotional sphere, you want to look at the cognitive sphere, intellectual sphere, sexual sphere, like 6, 7 spheres like that. And then you are looking at the stages 0 to 1, 1 to 3, 3 to 7, 7 to 9. So there are things at every stage you should be able to do and you should not be able to do based on your capacity and your stage of development. Now, in Nigeria or in Africa, what we do is the one that your brain is supposed to be able to do, they won't let you do. The one your brain is not able to, they will say your brain should. Like, how do you explain a 10-year? That's why we call it Ada syndrome at the institute. The firstborn girl. You become a mother at 5. They will you'll be the one to carry the baby. You'll be the one to do everything, In fact, when they have a firstborn that is a girl, they are happy. This one will take care of all the ones a baby is taking care of babies. You be the one, you are going now, you want to cross the road. They will say, if anything happened to your sister, you are 7. They are supposed to be saying, the mother is supposed to, if anything happened to you, like you are a child raising another child. So we don't look at all of those stages. And I think that is where the trauma starts from. So can these things be reversible? Yeah, 100%. I believe, but I do not believe it's possible without therapy. Why? Is because And I was trying to say something about the developed world. You see, they invest a lot of resources in mental health because they believe that if we can solve this one problem, we probably must have solved like 100 years problem by solving just one. So if you don't solve one in Nigeria, you will keep... See, people are talking about politicians. Our politicians are a reflection of our environment. I like to give a particular, description of this. So you have, let's say you have two parents. It's like a fiction. Let's say you have Mama Shola and Mama Nkechi, for example. Mama Shola and Mama Nkechi are both poor. Poverty is a factor when it comes to mental health. So they are both poor. And let's say there are four. There are maybe Shola and what's the name of the other one? Nkechi. They are both 4 years old. And maybe it's like 4 p.m. Poverty, they've not eaten all day. So you can imagine a 4-year-old that has not eaten all day. So the children are throwing tantrums, crying, weeping, and then Mama Shola said, oh gosh, Shola, what am I going to do now? Don't worry, it's a phase, it's going to pass. Carry the baby. You see, the baby might not even understand what you're saying, but the brain hears.
Yeah.
Sorry, maybe I should just go and meet my sister, or maybe I should just go to the church. Maybe I will see some... Sorry now, carry the baby, pet the baby, The baby is developing. In that area, there's cognitive development, how to think about situations like that. There is emotional development, how to treat somebody that is in that kind of, helpless situation. What should you do? That is Mama Shola. Then Mama Nkechi, the same situation. Kicked Nkechi and say, you are crazy. I see your stupid papa. Now me say, you don't see me, I don't chop. And, push the child aside and, began to say a lot of terrible things to that child. If Shola becomes a governor and Nkechi becomes a governor, they are not going to relate the same way. Nkechi and Shola's perception about poverty, about love, about care, about concerns for the poor are going to be different. So people develop a lot of sadistic tendency by virtue of the level of poverty they are exposed to. And then you now say they should be pitying you because you are what? That's why you see one rich man wants everybody to be... It feels good when you guys are crying. So I do not feel like we can even get it right with politics or economy if we don't deal with mental health. So therapy, is there a way out? I feel it's therapy. And can everybody go to therapy? But you see, we need to begin to see therapy as a way of life. When you have a 3-year-old that you understand the stage of development, maybe at that point, or even a 6-month-old, you are looking at the baby and you are touching the... Oh, you're so beautiful. You expect the baby to blink, to smile. You begin to notice all of those gestures that the baby is not doing that. Abroad, they're already thinking, talk to a speech therapist, talk to a something wrong, or you are supposed to... At every stage, they are taking the child to, where they can develop their brain psychologically. In Nigeria, nobody cares. It's more about you don't chop.
Nobody even notices.
No, they don't even notice.
You probably get scolded or even smacked for not responding like they're expected to.
Let me say something. Recently, I went for a training with DSVA. They are doing a lot. They train the, what do you call them? The registrars in our courts. People that register weddings. And I was one of the trainees. The trainer.
The trainers.
And then they have a statistic that they put, that DSVA put, that 65% of weddings that were conducted in those places, they noticed that, they sense that there is abuse. They saw that sign, 65%, but they will go ahead and join them. So I asked those registrars, are you guys counselors? No. Do you have training in counseling? No. What is the core of your job? Counseling. I don't understand. They said 2 things they do is to cancel and to register. So what are you canceling? If it's working, how will you notice 65% and then you will still join them? Now, the ripple effect of that is those 65%, when they start fighting, they will call DSVA. They will provide shelter for the mother. They will provide shelter for the kids. They will look for school for them. They will start going to court. Now they start wasting resources. It's not waste, but it has to be done. But waste in a way that they will have dealt with it at the point of registering that wedding. So that's why I said, at the end of the day, we are penny wise, pounds foolish. In the name of, we don't do therapy, so you both think, That's why you see them, when they curtail one problem, they are dealing with 1,000 other problems. But in our own case, when we get there, when they start fighting, they call police, they will be going to court, unnecessary. So, what is the way out? Now, everybody might not be able to go to therapy, but I feel like with this mental health, there should be better understanding of what we are talking about when we are talking about mental health. Self-awareness. Self-awareness is the key to healing. You see, couples will fight. You fight and fight. You are fighting a narcissist. Somebody that doesn't even understand why it's the way he is. His frontal cortex has been hijacked. The part of his brain that processes information and negotiates has been hijacked by the trauma. So he's always in a flight or fight mood. And then you are trying to negotiate with that person. Say, babe, why are you doing it like this? Can't you do it? Some women, and it's vice versa. It's just that it's majorly, this particular issue is major, but it could be other things that are also more common to the female, right? So you are talking. The person don't have the capacity to hear you. Because everything we are hearing, now, why you are making sense of what you are hearing is because there are substances in your brain to process it.
True.
So when you don't have substances to process what the person, you'll be like, what did they talk?
So you are lacking in gray matter.
So the conversation you are having with your husband and you are fighting, you want to change a 40-year-old, 30-year-old, you are joking. Because he can't process, he will be looking at you and be like, is she mad? And vice versa, he will also be looking, why is she thinking like this? And that is the situation of a lot of couples. You are trying to change somebody that, you're trying to solve a problem that you did not create. You cannot. Until that person gets to the point themselves where they realize that, wait, why am I even acting like this? Why am I thinking like this? Can't I do something about it? Until that happens, change will not take place. And that is why we normally say, without cognitive reconditioning, there will never be behavioral modification. And that's what we call CBT in therapy. And what we do in CBT, you mentioned something earlier when you were talking about experiences.
Yeah.
We are all products of our experiences, just like you said it. Now, what we do in therapy is what we call cognitive reconditioning. In a layman language is we give you new experiences. So more like we begin to give you new exercises that will help you to override the old experiences so you can find new meaning. Until you get to that point where you recondition or rewire your brain, and then you now start thinking differently about that situation. That way, you can now behave differently. So for me, the way out is cognitive reconditioning. But if everybody cannot go to therapy, let's everybody try to understand mental health, and let everyone begin to search themselves to be more self-aware, because nobody can change you unless you change yourself.
What's the place of spirituality? Is it Hebrews 12 for the word of God is alive and exerts power, and it's sharper than any two-edged sword, and it pierces even to the dividing of the soul and spirit and of joints and marrow, and it can discern the thoughts and intentions of the heart. So In counseling, is there a place for spirituality?
So, I'm a firm believer in the Word of God, and I believe in miracles. And I know that. I mean, even if when people go to church and they become born again, what happened? It's more like some of the irrational thought, like what I call cognitive reconditioning. Some of the irrational thought they were holding on to, the Word of God helped them to have a different thought pattern.
Yeah.
As to, maybe they believe that you have to steal before you can become somebody. So maybe the Word of God will make you know if you steal, you go to hell. So because of that, you also now have a change of thought on your own and say, you know what, I don't want to do it like this. So I believe that the Word works. I believe so. Again, but the thing is, even the Word of God said, as a man thinketh in his heart or in his mind, so is he. I believe that the mind has the capacity to control the spirit and the body. Because why do people get born again? Why don't you think God has the capacity to say, all of you, follow me? I want you to do it. He has. All he needs to do is just to snap his finger and say, do it like the way I want it. But he will not do that.
Because it will negate one of his major qualities.
He will still say,
the gift of free will.
I give you. So what is free will? Your mind. So if the foundation be destroyed, what can the righteous do? If the substance in your mind is messed up, what are you going to use to process it? So if the mind is messed up, the spirit cannot do anything.
Okay. Yeah. So let me ask you this. Let me look for some people's trouble. Have you seen BBL?
Yeah.
I think there's Brazil in BBL, Brazilian butt lift. That's what it means. In your practice, so I have seen some. I don't know whether you've seen some content, including even in the definition of BBL, where it's associated with what's the word now? The phrase for it, more like insecurity or
That's body dysmorphia.
low self-esteem and all of that. And if you ask, it's become a bit of a thing. And so I'm just wondering what is it that you make of it?
Man, I have seen things in therapy that I'm not sure if I want to even say on this platform, because I feel like, I understand the place of confidentiality. I'm not mentioning anybody's name.
No, yeah.
But if I say it, I know the person some people will feel, that's too much to say. Especially when it comes to this body thingy. A lot of my clients are in that space because they have money. So I see crazy things that people do. I have seen people removing pregnancy because the tummy is too flat to be able to carry. The skin has been stretched.
Circle back. Come back a bit.
I'm saying things that I actually said I do not want to say. The skin has been stretched because of tummy talk. I've seen things. In fact, let me just stop there. How can that be normal? So the thing is, people have the right to do with their body whatever that works for them. If it makes you feel good, do it. But you need to be very sure of your why. Why are you doing what you do? But if you now look at the trend, especially like I see those things and I'm like, the leg is tiny, the bum is shooting out. It's so ugly to me. I'm not saying, it might look beautiful. If it look beautiful for them, all good. But in my own opinion. And now, sometimes people feel like, I remember one of this lady, I saw one of the videos, Iyabo Ojo, that said that she has this extra skin. And every time she just feels so bad, she feels terrible. seeing that part of her body, and then she decided to do something about it. Maybe something like that. Maybe you just feel like, this thing is really, I wish I could feel better. And you have the capacity, you do it. But you are doing it because everybody is doing it. You are doing it because this one look more beautiful. My dear, somebody will always look more beautiful than you.
No matter what you do.
If you like, whatever. Somebody will be more beautiful than you. And some people are looking at you and feeling like, gosh, I wish I can be like this person. And if you cannot see yourself like that, something is wrong with you. Body dysmorphia, there's no end to it. It is, this negative perception and image about yourself. Today you do your breast, tomorrow you do your hand, tomorrow your leg, there's no end to it. You keep doing it and you keep doing that. You are doing it for men. Men! Or for people. Sorry.
What are the other options?
Men that cannot see. The only time men sees your BBL is when you package and you are working. At the point of having sex, making love to you, they don't see those things. The brain cannot see. In fact, if they are picturing some of the things that they are seeing. The things that get them sexually attracted to you are the packaging you've done and they have seen. At the point of trying to come, of trying to make love, it doesn't really matter. So why are you doing? Maybe I'm wrong. You're a man.
Well, again, how about the argument that it's financially rewarding? I mean, these ladies manage to attract all the big spenders to come after them and spend money. I was having, Alibaba was sitting right there, and we touched on this topic, and he talked about how women tend to see it as an investment opportunity. So you spend X amount of money to go do your BBL, and then you have this oversized, I don't know what it is.
Bum,
and
boobs, everything.
Then it's both, and sometimes it's a turn-off for some men, to be honest with you.
It's now getting to that point now because it's becoming too much.
It's a turn-off for some men. And just having to wonder whether it's real or not, it's not very sexually stimulating when you think of it. But the point is, they get to attract the people with all the money misruled people who spend enormous amounts of money on them.
So the thing is, I mean, like you said, it's business. They do what works for them. Like you invest and you get your return. I don't see if that is what they are doing. I don't think it's, I mean, who am I to say it's bad or good? If you invest, it's your investment. You get a return on your investment. If that is your business, that's what you are doing. My body is what I'm selling and I'm making money out of it and I need to invest in it so I can get a return. If it works for you, all good. But my personal opinion is, for me, I do not think anybody can pay for my body. Personally, for me, how much will you pay? If I do it, and that is why they are not me, So if I do it, if you pay me, I cannot even do it anymore. If I do it because I want to. The same body, what are we talking about, Mr. Femi? The same body that some people are selling for 10,000, 20,000 naira. It's the same body some people are using to collect mansion in Dubai, right? So what's the difference? It still boils down to your perception of yourself, the way you see yourself. And one thing about women I don't understand is the person that is, whether money misruled or something that is giving you the money, why are you not the money misruled? What made you see yourself like somebody that must collect and cannot give? Really? Why do you see yourself that bad?
Why did you allow yourself to become the commodity?
Like you are so. I see our young women these days, and they're like, "Oh yeah, you give me money, I give you my body." Really, really, you are selling your body. There is no amount of money that should be able to make up for that body. And again, you see, I can describe it in another way, like when you say, oh, you are dating somebody, like, what are we doing? Are you marrying me or not? The guy should be the one to be asking, what are we doing? But you know, we're so messed up in a way that women tends to like see themselves like somebody has to give you. Somebody has to give. And you see, men, again, I ask men, if you don't give, how do you feel? Or you don't have capacity to give, how do you feel? You feel like you are a lesser man by virtue of your conditioning. You are a work in progress. You are growing. You are not sleeping. You're not folding your arms. You are making effort to be better. But we live in a society that are not saying all of that. They're like, I just want the money. And then because of that, you are looking down on yourself that you are nobody. Like, you need to wear a very good dose of self-esteem. If you cannot see, when people say, I say, don't marry an NFA, don't marry an NFA. I could be in that school of thought, but a little bit different. Is this person making effort? Are you seeing that this person is making effort? Is this person going somewhere? It's not somebody that is waking up and sleeping and playing PS5 or staying in the parents' house and staying comfortable, but you see that this guy, you can track the efforts. That's all the person needs. And if you cannot believe in that, as a man, I'm looking at you and I'm feeling like it's your loss. But that I will now be feeling bad about myself because I cannot buy you bone straight, then I'm the problem. The same problem with the women that are now making it like is their entitlement. When they come to me, be like, Dr. Tolu, in fact, we have this argument even among therapists. They be like, Dr. Tolu, no. It is, you use what you have to get what you want. Really? Why am I not the one that is making the money and you are feeling like, oh, wow?
I need to challenge you on that.
Right.
Earlier on, you did say men, by their design, are giving. They want to give. It makes them feel good.
Right.
They want to hunt.
Right.
Which is why they do most of the chasing.
Right.
Women, on the other hand, by their design, they love to receive.
Right.
By design.
Right.
Could it be then that that's also part of the matter? That it's just your innate,
so it's
subconscious.
No. So it's not innate. It's psychological. Wanting to receive what your innate want. If you are talking about female anatomy, what your hormones want is cuddle, flowers, text messages. I miss you. How you doing? That's what your psychology is. The parenting, is the environment, is your religion. You're a man. You must provide for your family.
I know.
So that is what it is. So it's not innate. It is acquired. That makes women want to collect. Now, you need to now get to a level where you are self-aware. See, I want to be a baby girl. I want to be taken care of. But I don't want to sell my body to be taken care of. You can't be. I want to be able to make my own money. But I still want my husband. Because if you also need me, I will be there for you. I mean, there are times in life, like sometimes in a lot of cases, by virtue of how the environment is wired or something, men tends to probably make money than maybe the woman is still having kids. And then, sometimes the man could be the one making all the money. It does not mean that at that time your wife is now like a rag. You are I'm a control, I'm a Because if you see it like that, when the woman also begins to make money, the table will turn, right? But it has to be like, I care about this person and I am in the position to take care of this person. Let me do that now. And that is why you see a lot of women now, when they are providing, they can't cope. They can't cope because they are not wired psychologically to be able to do so. And the man, and some men too, even when you can, when the women are saying, I want to prove to you because I'm self-aware. I'm self-aware and I know that this is a phase. So I want to prove to you that during this phase, I'll be there for you. The men will still not be able to cope because he feels used, he feels useless, he feels he's no longer in control because he's not providing. So you see this issue of BBL, there is no end to what you can do to your body. It's just like sex. When it comes to sex, I tell people, you can't see the end. It's only sex that can see your end because you can be as creative as possible. You can begin to do different things like what couples are doing these days, right? A lot of threesome, a lot of, orgies, it's so common in what you can even call, in quotes, healthy marriages. Healthy marriages still bring in third party, just to have fun.
In Nigeria?
Very common. And that is why when we say we are...
Amongst the elite, huh?
Even the ones that are not elite. It's common. It's common more than you can imagine. Orgies, group sex, very common. Couples exchanging partners, spouses, not partner, spouses. It's common, very.
So you talked about trauma and, mental, I would like to say damage. In the same group of people who you say maritally, they are not having anything near enough sex. In that same collection, we see people who are married but jointly are engaging in orgies and threesomes, foursomes, 20-somes, whatever it is. Don't you find that rather ironic?
It's more like they are trying to look for answers. They're trying to look for solutions, for maybe whatever pleasure they are trying to get. And, there's a thin line between what we call kink and paraphilia. Kink is, like sexual, what do you call it? Like adventure. Kink is like sexual adventure. Like, can we try this? Can we try BDSM? Tie your hand, flog you, choke you, all of these things you want to try.
Probably mistakenly murder you.
It happens a lot. If you Google it, you will see. It happens. People die in the process of having sex a lot, actually. Right? So all of these things, if the two of you are in agreement, I love it makes me feel good, and you say, I love it, nobody is compelling you, nobody is forcing you to do what you don't want to do. You are in charge. You are enjoying it. It's kink. But it becomes paraphilia when you might be enjoying it, but what is driving that desire is actually trauma, which in a lot of cases, that's the case, especially in this part of the world. Because we're in an environment where if you ask any Nigerian that has never, ask anybody that has never witnessed sexual assault, whether to you, to a family member, to somebody close to you. In fact, to you, family member, somebody close to you is even too far. You are a Nigerian. You have never witnessed or experienced any form of sexual assault. You are exceptional. Nobody has ever tapped your bum when you were small. Small girl, you don't grow bum. Nobody has ever touched your boobs. I say, you this small girl, you don't grow breast. You have never sat on any uncle's lap that is trying to finger you. As a boy, no auntie has ever carried you on her lap and say, sit on me. Put her breast in your mouth. As a small boy, no house help has ever touched you. You're exceptional. But all of those things, they won't go away. They will come back to haunt you in almost all cases. So you now begin to ask yourself, how did you develop the desire? How did you develop what is arousing you around sex? How did you develop it? Are these normal things, or are these paraphilias? Are these sicknesses, or are they just, I'm just having fun? So in a lot of cases, when people are doing this, it's never enough. I'm a sex therapist, right? I see a lot.
So kink, paraphilia, trying to, adventure, trying to discover or damage, or could we call it what it probably really is? Insatiable greed.
So sex is sweet. And that is why sometimes when women in Nigeria, sorry, Mr. Femi, Nigerian men are not good when it comes to making love to women.
Why are you apologizing to me? I'm probably worse than
because you're a Nigerian man.
Because I'm a Nigerian man.
So I'm apologizing to you on behalf of Okay, so but the thing is, when women a lot of women are not enjoying sex. They are not getting the benefit out of it. So so when men are begging for sex, I don't understand. In fact, when men are paying for sex, I mean, men have been paying for sex from ages, but I don't understand. Because women have capacity to enjoy sex more than men. And I can give you like 5 reasons. The only difference is men would desire, I think maybe God just tried to balance it. Women will enjoy it more, men will desire it more. So the battle continues. So if a woman enjoys sex, get the benefit out of it, like you really get to where you really want to get to, you keep looking forward to it. Of course, there are a lot of things that will make you to like children, work, everything like I beg, but you will look forward to it. And sex is sweet. And when you get the benefits, you want to do more. You want to try more. You want to explore more. You want to, can we try this? Can we try that? But the thing is, so it could be greed. It could be like, okay, this thing is so sweet. Can we try this more? Can we try more? But again, there is a place of dysfunctionality. There's a place of you have been raped before. And I mean, there's something that is called cuckolding, and it's actually very common. Cuckolding is so common in Nigeria more than you can imagine. That a man that wants another man with a bigger, I will always call it what it is, with a bigger penis to have sex with his wife. So he will sit and watch. And without that, he cannot be sexually satisfied. So you can't say that is coming from, greed. I just want to. It's coming from, because you should be able to make love to somebody that you love and be satisfied. But you are not going to feel that sexual fulfillment until you watch another person having sex with somebody that you love. And a lot of women, Nigerian women, we put them like, what our girls are doing for money. Gosh. I was talking to someone, I was like, Tolu, they said this celebrity as in fact, she speaks pidgin, she's my friend. This one don't chop shit now. This one don't chop shit now. I'm like, come on, stop it. Chop shit. I'm like, no. I like, Tolu, I better get out. I say, I said, but why would people be chopping shit for money? I like, Tolu, I beg, leave this thing. Even that she was talking to somebody and the person said, even when we were young, when we put our hand, we put it in our mouth unknowingly. So if you can make money by doing that, what's the big deal? I'm like, what is that person's perception of herself? Like people think it's because of poverty. And you see, that's another mental health issue. Nigerians, our perception about money, like I described Mama Nkechi and Mama Shola, that is where the problem is coming from. It's a mental health problem. People want to make money at all costs. People kill their parents for money.
Yeah.
That's sadistic. People, and the reason why do you want to make the money? So you can buy Benz. And then you go outside and they say, you don't arrive. So that you can go to the village during Christmas. And then Baba Chinedu, you say, hey, Chinedu don't come. Because if Chinedu is not able to come with that Benz, Baba Chinedu will not get a red cap, and they will not. If all the elders are sitting, if he's coming, they say, "I beg, go." Your son don't bring Benz. Now your mate that they see that they call. You see, it's a foundational and cultural problem that is so dysfunctional. I like to talk about this is a big one, and I know this platform is big, but I will say it. I like to talk about the Uber boy. They call it Uber boy. The Igbo apprenticeship program. You know it?
Yes.
It's so popular that it's being studied in Harvard. Because it's being studied in Harvard because of the economic impact. You pick somebody from poverty and then you begin to the person begin to replicate it and people begin to make money. But in my therapy session, I see these rich guys that are so empty, highly narcissistic, low self-esteem, zero self-esteem. Wife struggling, married to a pretty lady who is a graduate, master's, struggling. And I'm like, where is this coming from? And then I began to see this apprenticeship issue, where you pick a 10-year. We are talking, everything is money in Nigeria. They say Nigerians are very resilient. I feel like our resilience is laced with trauma. I feel like we are resilient more than the brain can even cope with. I mean, how do you explain what World Health Organization says about Nigerian children? That Nigerian children are the most pressured to succeed all over the world. They are not teaching you skills to even develop your brain. They are teaching you skill, connecting it to money. Just make money. So you see a 10-year-old that is doing this apprenticeship stuff and is staying with his oga. And the oga children will wake up in the morning, will dress up and enter into an SUV and go to school. And he will be sweeping the shop and be mopping the shop. Sometimes sleeps in the kitchen, sometimes sleeps in the shop. All in the name of trying to make money. And then you think he will see himself as something. He will have all the money, but the emptiness will always be there. So you see, this is our perception about money. As Africans, as Nigerians, it is only when we begin to have a different mindset about that we can see any changes. You want to make money, why? So that they can hail you. So that your parents, because again, the society, when I said it's cultural, the society too, if during Christmas, the man will be hiding. If the son is not able to, if the son is saying, Dad, don't worry, I'm working on something, I'm growing, the father doesn't want to see you are growing. Where is the Benz? Where is the big house? Houses that they are building inside bushes that nobody is staying there. I was talking to a client recently, and she said, the first time she has ever is married. Anyway, like 3 or 4 are coming to mind, but I'm just confidentiality. But let me just bring the point itself. Most of these young ladies that grew up abroad, when they come to Nigeria, maybe by virtue of marriage or coming to work, they can't figure out why we think the way we do. Because somebody sees the ring in your hand and the person sees that you are married and the person is toasting you, they are wondering like, or you are like 18, 19, 20 and a married man is asking you out. She said all of them says it's the same pattern. That is strange. It's not like it's not happening. But it is, generally speaking, it's something that that should make you like.
Should be jarring.
Yeah, you should be like, why? You'd be like, what's wrong with me? Why is a married man asking me out? But in Nigeria, in fact, it's when they see the ring in your hand that they are interested in you. So that money, the way money has messed with our mental, it is not poverty. I know poverty is a factor, but solving Nigerians' problem, it is not poverty per se. It is the mind, the way we think about money, the way we think about poverty. Come to think of it, Nigerians now are beginning to realize that. I saw one of the podcasts that was talking about that. Abroad is not what it used to be. You will work your ass out. You want to pay for one mortgage, you pay for 25 years. That's the way they live in that place. You are alone, you are lonely. You work everything, you calculate, and then you are here. You just want to make one big money without growing, without process. Everybody just want to, and let me say this, I like to give this. Consider a big man who just maybe, you just maybe ram into a poor man's car and police were there. Nigerian police. I feel like if we can get it right with Nigerian police, especially their mental health, and people don't become whom they are by accident. Like we said, it's experiences. I feel like our police, they've experienced so much that what they have become now, until there is proper cognitive reconditioning, I don't think we are going anywhere, because the role that the police is playing in the society is massive. So, but that's by the way. So you ram into a rich man ran into another man's car. And then the poor man is trying to let's say the son is sitting in it. And that is why you see in developed world, when police see children in the car, they manage it. Here. So you see a child, the son of the poor man is sitting in his rickety car. And he saw the rich man, who is also proud, thinks money is everything, who doesn't have human feelings, who doesn't have self-awareness. They begin to, take advantage. And then begin to like, who are you? What do you mean? And then, take advantage of the poor man. And then maybe the police were there, and then the man, maybe they even, like it normally happen, maybe they get to police station and then the man paid the police some money. I mean, we know all of these things are happening. I'm just giving an example. I'm not saying it has happened before, but I mean, if anybody can relate. And then they pay money. You give money to the police and the big man left, and even the poor man is put in the cell. And the son was watching. And he saw all of that. And you think that one, he will say in his life, whatever it will take me to make money, I will make money. I will never go through what my dad went through. The perception about making money for that child has changed. It's not like I need to take care of myself, I need to grow, I need to go through process. It's I need to oppress. I need to make sure I did not suffer. So the system that we have in Nigeria, in Africa, is making it, is exalting this get rich quick syndrome. By virtue of, if you don't have money in a sane environment, the system will protect you. But in Nigeria, if you don't have money, you are on your own. And because it's happening like that, people will do anything to make money, because without money, you are going nowhere. Whether you even in church, without money, you are a nobody. So when the system is fashioned that way, people will do anything to make that money. And the reason why the way the brain is processing it, the reason they want to make money, it's no longer because I want to grow, I want to take care of my family. It's
contribute to society.
Not that anymore. It's because me too, I need to show them. I need to oppress. And the danger is, it sits in the subconscious, directing the thought. The person is not even aware. That is the most dangerous part of it.
So I've seen some of these things that you said. That years ago, a man I had a lot of respect for wanted me to help mentor his young son, who had respect for me. And I think it was along the lines of, this kid was kind of like detached from everything else, other than just making money, spiritual life, if you, and it just so happened that his mom and his dad had, gone their separate ways years before, and I was trying to encourage this young lad, doing a favor to the dad, and the guy looked at me and said, "Yeah, thank you, Uncle. I appreciate it. But you see, I saw what lack of money did to my dad and my mom. I'm not going to go through that. So everything else can wait. I'm just going to chase the money first." So I can relate with what you're saying. We've seen it. We've experienced it. We've seen families, parents, elevate younger kids in the house once they get some level of financial security before their older ones. So the child who seems to have more money automatically becomes the one that makes everybody listens to, and the family, and tying that back to what you say about damage, familial damage, cultural, psychological, and a lot of times people are just sometimes you blame the parents, but sometimes the parents themselves are a product of a system that keeps perpetuating itself.
It's a cycle.
There are too many questions in my head, but we don't have an eternity of time. You mentioned something about cuckolding a while ago, and at that point I was just thinking that sometimes you find it's not a practice that is very rampant here in Nigeria.
It is.
It is.
Yep.
Far more. It's weird because it's pretty Western. This whole thing of...
You'll be shocked what Nigerians are doing when it comes to sex. You will be thinking, like we normally say, Igbo people they are stupid, they are the worst, they are devil. Forget. We don't have values here. Where are the values?
But again, statistics, the numbers show that you asked the question...
Because they have data.
When you were saying it, you did say that for some of these people, that's the only way they can gain sexual satisfaction. Yet, the data suggests that it's a practice that comes from indulging in things like pornography over time.
Yeah.
So I'm tying it back to greed.
Right.
So here you are. And that mental thing, you are not allowing yourself to develop mentally. You let yourself go with masturbation, again, you say no harm. You're not harming anybody. Maybe it's just you. And then that's not enough anymore. You need to see something. So pornography, you indulge in pornography to the point where normal sexuality cannot satisfy you anymore.
Yeah, yeah.
So at the end of the day, it's still greed that got you there.
I mean, as much as there are lots of school of thought that are working against sex addiction that say, there's, and brings me to what you are also saying. The Western dumps a lot of things at us, actually. There's no doubt about it. But those things are really here. When you are talking about, for example, pedophilic disorder, in Africa, Africa is the home of pedophiles. Anybody that can say, in my life I've never experienced something. You have not seen somebody that a child. You have never experienced a child being molested or someone trying to molest your child, either you or somebody around you. It's difficult. Now, but in the West, if you have pedophilic tendencies, like you are a non-offending pedophile, you have the tendency, you have not offended, you will turn yourself in. You'll be going for therapy, you'll be going for treatment. They will set you, they have a lot of system in place they measure how many kilometers anywhere there are children, that you must not go close. They try to control everything that you do and everything. It's not like these things are not still happening. But we are seeing, because they have data, they are bringing it out. In Nigeria, if we begin to have data around these things, if people are able, there's no stigmatization, people are able to open their mouth and begin to talk, you see what the level of problem that we have. But people that are non-offending pedophile, that have the tendency, they don't even have anywhere to call and say, please, this thing is doing me like this. Can I get help? Can I how do I make sure it doesn't, so you look at all of that in our society and you compare to the West, you see the reason why it seems like the problem is more here. Because those people, when they, in fact, in a lot of cases, they also, like porn, it originated from them. Most of these things comes from them. And I say this a lot. In the olden days, we have values. We have, like, if you do something, maybe you touch a child, they will send you to the evil forest, or they take you to the village care, and all of those things. Where are those things now?
There are no consequences, no clear-cut consequences.
Now, those things are gone. Now, but we are now trying to be Western way of married. Or marriage. More, one man, one wife is not African. So you are trying to, let me not even dare be to, you are trying to do one man, one wife. Your conditioning is telling you that men are polygamous in nature. How do you match the two? And I have men that are like, oh, Dr. Tolu, because, I love my wife. She has not done anything wrong to me. I just don't know why I can't just stay with one person. Isn't it biology? Is it my fault? And the wife too will be there and be like, oh, I don't know why my husband is feeling like this. He lost me. I look at the woman like, you guys are sick. Because narcissism again brainwash the woman to making the woman to feel like, oh, you are the one I love, but you just become men are polygamous in nature. That's why I cannot cheat. Recently I asked one of my clients.
I cannot fail to cheat.
I said, if you're in America, will you still say this thing you are saying, that you are wired like that? He said, yes. Now, is it not the same man that is in Nigeria that is in America? I said, okay. I said, if you know that the person you are married to is a white lady and she has a gun, and there is tendency of the fact that if she catches you, you could die 50-50. I said, is that even possible? He said, yes, it's possible because Igbo people, they have gun. So I said 50-50 because you know that she can gun you down immediately. So if that is ringing in your brain, will you say you are biologically wired? He said, now you said it like that, Dr. Tolu, there will be a need to be careful because there are consequences. Their brain has been conditioned to know that you can die from cheating. But in Nigeria, the women are even saying, Dr. Tolu, is it possible for a man not to cheat? The women have been so messed up and brainwashed that they just feel okay. And again, I'm not saying anybody, cheating is common here. I'm not saying anybody that is cheating. I'm not blaming anybody. Whatever is happening in their lives. I'm not in their shoe. But again, like I said, marriages are very dysfunctional in Nigeria. And that is why you see the way we are cheating here. So we have left those values. Then we are importing foreign and Western ways. Foreign ways in which those people have consequences, their mayors, their system. If you do like this, you do anyhow, you see anyhow. But in Nigeria, you do anyhow, nothing they happen.
I agree with you. I mean, to the point that it's hard to find people who've not had experiences.
It's difficult.
Like literally. And I kind of believe, and I say it, there's a lot that we don't pay attention to. You talked about pedophilia. Some things that are just unsaid in this part of the world.
We don't want to talk about
For instance, what's it they call this one? What's the word? What's the fancy word for sex between incest?
Yeah.
Incest.
Oh, gosh.
Incest, parents on children.
Crazy. Crazy.
That's not as rampant. I think siblings.
Crazy.
Brother and sister.
Crazy.
And I think the worst is cousins.
Very common.
I think cousins is probably the worst. One of the worst things parents do is take your kids to go and stay with their uncle or their aunt with their children and just think, oh, yeah, they are all related. You'll be shocked the things that go on there. And even from my personal experience, my teenage years, there was an older cousin who came over for the holidays, and it was a torture for me. I was young, I wasn't sexually active, but this young lady, beautiful young lady, traumatized me with attempted rape so many times, right under my parents' noses. On one occasion, or even on my father's bed, she tried to, and it was terrible. And I remember that the next holiday I was supposed to go to an uncle, where she stayed. And my father didn't understand why, because that was my favorite uncle. I was supposed to come to Lagos too. And I said I couldn't go because I just felt that girl was going to be there. When I was 21, I was visiting an uncle of mine here in Lagos. and his neighbor's 6-year-old child, who I put on my lap. I was 21. I had just gone to play football. I just come back, I had taken a shower. I was still wearing sports pants, and I was telling stories to the kids, and she was perhaps the youngest. She was just 6. So she was fighting with her older brother over a chair. And I just picked her like, oh, little girl, don't worry, leave the chair, and put her on my lap. And this girl tried to fondle me, 6 years old. And initially, I thought it was, what's this girl doing? You know, she was sitting on my laps and moving. Initially, I didn't think much of it, but I was like, what is this? I would adjust her. She would come back to my groin area. I tried to adjust her again. After a while, I was like, what's going on here?
She doesn't even know what she's doing.
And then, because I didn't react, because I got to that stage where I'm like, what's going on here? She then put her hand on my thigh and tried to stick her hand into 6 years.
You can imagine.
6 years. So, and I was 21. And you would think that, so the moment I got over the shock, because I couldn't do anything, I just took her off my laps, put her down, stared in her eyes, got up and walked away. And she had a sister who was 10 years old, who was really close to me. And afterwards, I didn't even want to have any communication with a 10-year-old anymore. And after I got over the shock, what I felt was not anger, it was pity.
Yeah.
That 6-year-old girl clearly had been abused.
Of course.
Must be going through abuse.
Yeah,
how did she know
yeah.
to touch a man,
right,
you know, at 6?
Very common.
So so it's relatable, and I'm sure people have their experiences. I mean, you're right. It's rare to find somebody who hasn't had some experience, either personally or observed experiences. Yeah. When I was a young man, I was walking in another town, so I would travel there. On one occasion, I was in media, so I was talking to my colleagues, all broadcasters, and on that occasion, they were all girls, and they were making a case. They were talking about a boss. So one of them brought this thing. So we had this Oga who had been dating one of the colleagues, one of young colleagues, and that colleague had moved on. So the Oga was now trying to date another one. And so I was listening to them. So this young girl was trying to find out whether it was okay, what the friends thought. And they were like, oh, go for it. And I was like, what do you mean go for it? Isn't the man married? I was like, so? Yeah. And then the justification was like, the man is very good. He never dates more than one girl here at the same time. I was like, okay. And then when I was trying to probe, they came at me and said, are you trying to say that when you get married, you will be faithful to only one woman? I was like, yes, I hope. And they're like, how is it possible? And I remember leaving there thinking that, man, even the ladies are damaged.
Damaged, actually.
Like you are this young and you have concluded in your heart that there is no way your husband is going to be faithful to you.
It is what it is.
As we wrap up.
Yeah.
Good Lord. As we wrap up, what would you say to people in relationships or getting into relationships and marital couples? I know you've touched on these things, but if you want to put in a case study there, let's wrap it up with that.
I will say, in fact, I would say if sex is bad, it will mess up your marriage. So I would say learn. I mean, if you have to talk to us, I'm not saying don't be celibate for those that want to, whatever work for you. But sex is huge in marriage. And a lot of men are actually cheating for sex. They are paying for sex anyway. Yeah, because it's not working inside the marriage. So, and the women, sex toys, a lot of women have resulted into sex toys. Sex toys market is booming. If I just started selling now, yes, so. So I would just say that sex, don't take it for granted. Sex is very important in marriage. And I will say before you get married, find yourself. Self-awareness is everything. So you know the reason why you are even getting married to that person. Not that somebody say, I want to marry her by all means. I want to marry him by all means. And the person can pick you and eventually marry you. You need to also be able to determine, why am I going into this? What do I want? Who am I? How do I want to be emotionally connected to? Nigeria uses, I have like, I don't know. So now I'm inviting you for my book launch. I have like 4 books that I wrote. I've been written for years, but I'm launching next month. And one of the books talked about the danger of love languages. Like what I was saying earlier, Nigerians just import things. The way we imported love languages. I have had different scenarios with my clients in therapy where the husband is speaking English, the wife is speaking French, based on their trauma, their conditioning, their upbringing. Somebody that grew up in a home where the mom always say, "Ma lo mommy," he doesn't even remember, he cannot even realize until he gets to therapy and you're like, Dr. Tolu, something is coming to mind. What my mom used to say while we're growing up, "Ma lo mommy." This person doesn't even speak Yoruba that much.
Don't cuddle me.
Don't cuddle me. And then you are married to a woman that says, "I want to be cuddled. I want to be touched. Why can't she speak my language?" It doesn't even have the capacity to speak. So a lot of people, you are so stuck on speak my language. The person, and you are so frustrated because you are fixated on that language. The person cannot speak. It's not about the person. Yes, love is universal, but we learn how we love. As individual, we learn how we love. You are not going to love better than your dad unless you find yourself. You're not going to love better than your mom unless you find yourself. And that is why when couples are fighting and saying, "Oh, we don't fight in the presence of the children," I laugh. The dynamics are there. What it means, you are showing them, in fact, it's even more dangerous that you are not fighting, because they know that, okay, mommy and daddy are not fighting, but they don't hug in the morning. They don't sit down to eat together. So this is what it means to love somebody. This is what it means. So you are showing them the definition of what it means to love. And then you are not going to get married to that kind of a person and say, "Oh, my love language is words of affirmation." Who affirmed him when he was young? Who told him, "Oh, you're handsome, you're such a cute guy"? Where did he learn it from? And you want him to be speaking. So I tell people, find yourself before you get into marriage. And this crazy about this societal labeling about you are single and then because of that you not get accommodation, you not get job, you not get. I think all those nonsense should stop. People should get married because they want to get married, because they are ready, not because they are under pressure. I mean, like there's a common saying I see online these days: people that are outside want to get into the marriage. The people that are inside, they want to get out. So I feel like when I said I do not think marriage is meant for Nigerians, I mean, these are the things I'm talking about. But I believe that with therapy, it can be worked on. People can. I do not think you can do it on your own. You can't convince, you can't motivate people out of trauma. You can't convince them out of trauma. You can't cry them out of trauma. So if you like throw tantrum, you cry, you motivate, you fight, you pursue her, she will still come back and still be the same person because it's ingrained in their brain. So I feel therapy helps. And therapy, generally speaking, self-awareness for individual and society at large, taking mental health seriously. It's a campaign that must be taken from government to hospitals to churches to everywhere, especially among our government parastatals. The mental health campaign, people must be aware. They must know whom they are. They must know why they act the way they do. Recently, an organization, we do training for organization, mental health training. We've done one for Nigeria Info. And the head of HR called me and said, "Dr. Tolu, my MD said, you guys should come and speak to us about office madness." I'm like, we can't call it that now. He said, "That is what my boss said, office madness. They are so frustrated. Because you are in an office with, imagine all of this personality disorder, all of this traumatic childhood, dysfunctional childhood. You are in the office with people with all of these mindsets. So you are spending your life around people that they derive pleasure, they have sadistic tendencies, they derive pleasure in making life miserable for other people. So offices, government, churches, mosques, schools, everywhere. The campaign of mental health must go there. People must begin to understand what we are talking about. People must find themselves, work on themselves, know why they act the way they do, so they stop bleeding on other people. And I think until we get there, I don't think we can make any changes in the society. Yeah.
Finally, is marriage necessary for happiness?
I would say no. You don't need to be married to be happy, but I feel like you need companionship. Everybody needs a shoulder to lean on. Now, the thing is, it is better to be single than be married and be miserable. In fact, I saw something that a psychologist wrote yesterday, and I'm like, this actually makes sense. He said, people that are doing well, he actually said especially women, he said people that are doing well, that are pursuing their purpose and achieving their goals, especially women, according to that write-up, are people that are single or as a woman married to a king. And he said a king, somebody that is comfortable with your growth, somebody that, can support you, can push you, can be very comfortable. It's either you are married to that kind of a person or you are single. Without that, you can't achieve your purpose. So sometimes marriage is overrated sometimes. I believe that two will be better than one. But unless you are with the right person, until you find the right person, your two will be worse than one. Yeah.
1 Corinthians 7, is it 38? Whoever marries does well.
Yeah, he either finds a good wife. Actually.
Yeah, that's different. That's Proverbs. Okay. That's Proverbs.
Okay.
Whoever marries does well. Whoever doesn't marry does better.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Check it out.
Interesting.
1 Corinthians 7. I think towards the end it's a long read, but I think 38.
I mean, you'll be able to focus on your focus, really.
Yeah. But it's better to be married
than
to become a street dog, isn't it?
Yeah, far better, of course.
But it's better to be single than to be miserably married.
Yeah, 100%.
Contradictions, eh? Human life.
It's not contradiction.
Yeah, contradictions, but that is life, man.
Yeah, life. True, I agree.
So I was going to ask you about a global phenomenon, which is transgender, cross-dressers and all of that. And it's become such a big issue, homosexual women, lesbian women, and people are already in that space.
Yeah.
But sometimes their partners do not know. Are you, from your experience, are you seeing some of that in Nigeria? It's a big global challenge.
I mean, you just said something earlier about abuse, sexual assault with a 6-year-old. That child cannot be normal. A 6-year-old that know how to touch a 21-year-old and knows. She doesn't even know what she's doing. So she's not even in control of her brain. The brain is already messed up. So that kind of a person, don't expect the person to become an adult and there won't be sexual issues. There will be. In fact, for a lot of couples, the reason you are begging your wife for sex is not, you are just making it about you. Is it that I'm not sexually attractive? You are not the problem. Somebody has done something before 20 years ago. So you are just trying to solve a problem that you didn't create. And that is the issue with sexual assault, why we have to take it seriously. But it still does not mean that it is everybody that have gender identity issues or sexual orientation issues that have been assaulted before. But it is a very high factor. Now, are there people very common amongst, and that's why we say when you Igbo people is their problem. My daughter is writing a book about Oron Poto. I don't know if you've heard about that. The first female Alaafin of Oyo.
Yeah.
It was a gender identity issue case. There are people who are intersex around us. People who are neither male or female everywhere. There's one lady that is very popular on social media, Bula Girl or something. I don't know if you've seen her. right? So there are people who are. So when people say, okay, is demonic, is this, I'm like, what about people who are intersex, who are both female and male, parts?
But the data shows that, those are very, they are Siamese twins, people, conjoined twins, people who are joined in the head. But that does not necessarily mean that, people are inherently conjoined.
People are born with biological defaults.
Yeah, true.
Yeah, true. Where you have vagina and penis as a person.
True. But I'm just talking about the data. It's not so rampant. It's very rare.
They have a community.
Yeah, there is a community.
In Nigeria, in fact, one of our students at the Institute of Counseling is championing a cause for intersex. There are many. And what do we do to them in those days in Nigeria?
It'll be interesting to pull up that data to see.
We don't actually have data in Nigeria. That's one of the...
At least start with the global data.
So talking about transgender and that's sexual gender identity and sexual orientation. They're actually not the same thing. You could have issues with your gender identity and not have issues with sexual orientation. You could have issues with sexual... You could be a man and know that you are a man, so you don't have gender identity issue. But you are sexually attracted to a man. That is sexual orientation issue. And people who are cross-dressers, you could be a cross-dresser and not have gender identity issues or sexual orientation issues. You just want to dress like a girl. It doesn't mean that you are sexually attracted like a girl. Or even though you are sexually attracted to a girl, or gender identity, it doesn't mean that. So when you have gender identity issue, is you feel trapped in a wrong body. Even though it's very common with people that are cross-dressers, but you can be cross-dressing and not be feeling like, oh, I'm trapped in a wrong body, right? So, but when we talk about, and that brings me to the same issue that we are talking about, with the level of pedophilic disorder, sexual assault, and all of these things, you will expect that in our society, we are going to have these issues as adults. Gender identity, sexual orientation, these issues are going to be common. But because of stigmatization and secrecy and who we are as Africans, people try to shy away from it, and then they don't talk about it. And then you know that you are sexually attracted to a man, and you go get married to a woman. Interestingly, I have had a case of a pastor. And it's interesting to say this because I feel like in a lot of cases we cover this thing with religion. He is a pastor. And he got married to this lady. And he's sexually... And see, when people feel trapped in a wrong body, you don't want to know the battle that they are fighting. When you are sexually attracted to a man, for example, and then society, religion forced you to be married to a woman, you don't want to know the battle, the mental battle those guys. They are constantly suicidal, constantly battling suicidal ideation, constantly battling low self-esteem, constantly battling guilt, constantly battling depression. Disappointment. Oh, I've disappointed my God. I've disappointed my wife. I've disappointed the society. I'm living a double life. The level of tension is crazy. But we live in a society where people cannot come out. Even some people will sense it. The parents will even sense it. They will still say, let's quickly marry for him so that we will not be put to shame. It is something that is common in our society. I have seen couples in this situation. Like I have said, I've seen a pastor, and I've seen how miserable the wife was at that time. In fact, they didn't see their sessions through, because people come to therapy and they don't get to the end of the session sometimes. And therapy is not magic. You need to follow through. You need to do the hard work. So are these things here very common in Nigeria? I see this on all of these social media blog that a lot of Nigerian rich men, I don't know about that, homosexuals, I saw that. But are these things common? Are people, and I want to say this to people, and I feel like we can't even get it with mental health until we give people free space to come out and express themselves. Expression and opportunity to open up is not consent. It's not saying we agree to what you are doing. It's just saying can we look at it? How can we help you? Rather than telling people to keep quiet, because that's what happened even in the case of pedophilic disorder, which is leading to, in a lot of cases, to gender identity and sexual orientation issues. If people have a place where they can call, at some point at the Institute, we created a line. We were actually partnering with DSVA to do that. We created a line specifically for non-offending pedophiles. And we said, if you are feeling this thing, call us. We were getting calls. And if we can't, we need to get to a point where people need to get a safe space where they can walk into and say, this is what I am feeling. We can't have this level of sexual assault going on with our children and think we are not going to be having gender identity and sexual orientation issues as adults. It's going to be there. It's not, like I said, it's not like every issue is as a result of assault, but because of the level of assault we have, it's going to be there. And again, people who are getting married to people knowing fully well that you are not sexually attracted, you are feeling trapped with them, you're going to mess up your own brain, you're going to mess up the brain of the other person. So it is better for you to find your own solution rather than bringing another person to that pain. It's unfair. It's totally unfair. You don't love somebody and do that to them, really. Yeah.
So you favor letting people be themselves? Whatever.
Of course.
Yeah.
It's this, you see, talking about gender identity and sexual orientation is deep, and it's not something that can be easily explained, especially to religious mind. You see, I can even send some of these documentaries to you. You know, in my sexology, I did a PhD in sexology. In my sexology class, I tell you, there is a specific class that was dedicated to sexual identity, gender identity, and sexual orientation issues. It will blow your mind. Some of the documentaries of a child that was born as a boy. Parents, religious, very okay. And this boy, right from childhood, they are buying toys for him. They are buying him cars. He will be crawling to anywhere he sees doors. And the parents were wondering, what is this? Like, they will just remove it. They were not paying attention. Remove the doll, give the car. This boy, baby, since when he was a baby, start drawing towards. The parents were wondering, what is going on? So there are a lot of documentaries that will expose your mind to the fact that as much as we don't want to hear, people can be born that way. People can be born like that. But I know Nigerian will say, I will pray it out, you will slap it out of his head. It's better we accept the reality and let the person get help than wish it away, because it won't go.
I kind of agree with you that neither government nor other people should impose their own personal thoughts about people's preferences, including their sexual preferences. However, what do you say to people who say the West probably crossed the line? How would you know not to cross the line between this is you, be you,
let me be me.
I am me. Don't impose you and what you are on me, because I am not that person. I mean, people have gone to jail in the West for refusing, for instance, to even this whole homophobia thing has been broadened to mean if a guy came to me and said they liked me, and I say no way.
Yeah.
The same way I'm at liberty to tell a girl who likes me that I don't like you.
Yeah.
But if I then do that to a guy, some people will begin to associate you with homophobia.
You know, so this conversation in my class, for example, I think I am woke in the sense that I have knowledge in this area to some extent compared to my environment in these areas, sex, gender identity, sexual orientation. But when I'm in class, I'm like a novice, because the things they are saying, my brain, my conditioning cannot I can't
conceptualize it.
They are coming, they are saying, oh, you see, the things they are talking in class is, oh, please, I have a client who is, for example, I have a client who is in jail, who is trying to do like bomb enlargement. A trans guy who trans from a woman, a boy to a girl, who is in jail maybe for one issue and is trying to do bomb enlargements. So he's going for his surgery. And then I'm the therapist, I'm the sex therapist. Do you know, because he has moved from where he is now, he's in jail in so area, do you know any doctor around that can help? Those are the level of conversations they are having. And in my head, I'm like, I cannot still, stomach all of these things. So they are far from us in that aspect. And I have problem personally with some of those things. But I know that it is possible for people to be born that way. And even being born that way, it's not like maybe you should even, it doesn't mean that, I know it's a struggle, trying to like not being yourself when you are born that way could be a serious struggle. But I would rather if you do what we call conversion therapy, at some points abroad, conversion therapy, if you feel like you are trapped in the wrong body, there are therapy that can be done for you. You start getting comfortable with the body that you have. But today, if you do it in most of the Western country, in fact, they don't do, if you try it, you go to jail as a therapist, right? So I feel like as much as people have struggles, I would rather they give them space where they can share their struggles, where they can get help, not encouraging that, oh, I know that my professor will not even like this, not encouraging that, oh, I feel like it's even too much. When you now allow them to keep going, they keep going and going and going till they even now destroy themselves. So I feel like there should be a level, there should be a space to talk. There should be room to express. There should be no stigmatization, but people should be able to seek for help rather than forcing people to, how could you even do that? You want people to now, I don't think that should not even be encouraged. But this, whether you jail people or not, it's even worse, because when people are not able to be themselves, they keep damaging people underneath, pretending. So I feel like it is better to give people space where they can talk, they can express and say, this is what I'm going through. Are there helps that are available for me? Rather than look the other way and say, this thing is not existing. It is existing.
On that note, I'd like to say thank you once again.
Thank you, Mr. Femi. Yeah.